carry on, but time is what it is. Time is Krishna. You carry on droning. Carry on droning. Same drone. Keep doing it. O Venerable Vaishnava, O Ocean of Mercy, be merciful unto your servant. Give me the shade of your lotus feet and purify me. I hold on to your lotus feet. Teach me to control my 6 passions. Rectify my 6 faults. Bestow upon me the 6 qualities, and offer unto me the 6 kinds of holy association. I do not find the strength to carry on alone the Sankirtan of the holy name of Hari. Please bless me by giving me just 1 drop of faith with which to obtain the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is yours. You have the power to give him to me. I am simply running behind you shouting, Krishna, 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 hey! Krishna, 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 hey! Krishna, 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 hey! Krishna, 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 hey! Krishna, 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 Rakshamam, Krishna, 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 Rakshama, Krishna, 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 Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rakshama, Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rakshama, Krishna, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna,
Doya
शुरू है हमारा तुम्हारा चरण जिया
Krishna se
kangalam, Krishna Krishna boli, Ai tava pache pache.
Ami to kangala, Krishna Krishna boli, Ai tava pache pache.
Ami to kangalam, Krishna Krishna boli, Ai tava pache pache.
Ami to kangala, Krishna Krishna boli, Ai tava pache pache.
Ai tava pache pache. Ai tava pache pache. Oh hey, Vaishnava Thakura, Toya Sadhu, Veda Seva, Hori.
Oh hey, Vaishnava Thakura, Toya Sadhu, Veda Seva,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Haridasa Thakur ki
Jai.
Oh hey Vaishnava Thakur ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Edase Karuna Kori Edase Karuna Kori. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timrandasya Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Tapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Vedati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapata Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha. We'll just go on. Panchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you for coming this morning to again give us this opportunity to hear about, remember, and pray to, beg for his mercy, the lotus feet of Srila Haridasa Thakur. By your mercy and by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have a little opportunity to delve into the unlimited, immeasurable, unfathomable pastimes and teachings of Haridasa Thakur, who, as we mentioned a little bit yesterday, Haribol, like we use the word a few words we used. One of them was bridge. We could say gateway. We could use many terms. They're not applicable in the absolute sense in one. We could say, but in another sense, to bring us from where we are to where we should be aimed. So that bridge which crosses over from one side to the other. He's teaching us through the methodology, even in our chanting, where we can cross that bridge. It seems like a long bridge, doesn't it? I don't know what the longest bridge in the world is, but it's nothing compared to this one. Longer than the bridge over to Lanka. But it doesn't have to be. But it sometimes seems like. The bridge to Lanka was very powerful, very big. And he's made this very possible. By his grace, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we heard how he was empowered by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu yesterday as a Namacharya. Of course, none of these personalities are ordinary conditioned souls of our kind. They're eternal associates of the Lord who appear with the Lord to fulfill his various missions. And in this particular case, the mission of Lord Chaitanya, what was his mission? What was Lord Chaitanya's mission?
Spread the holy names.
Spread the holy names, and also, pardon? Inundate the world with love of God, and also, what else? Pardon? To taste that love of Radharani. He was anchoring for that. That was his primary reason for coming. And we heard yesterday how no one other than Haridasa Thakura is the prime. He's the prime devotee to explain the Rasa Shastras of all the various 4 relationships, positive relationships with the Lord in Goloka Vrindavan. So he's not just somebody who's come to help spread the Yuga Dharma, which in itself is way beyond our understanding. We may like or not like, but it's totally spiritual in its every respect. But it's also to reveal these confidential truths of Lord Chaitanya's appearance in this world. Why other did he associate? Why, when Rupa and Sanatana Goswami would go to Jagannath Puri, where did they stay? Where did they stay? Rupa and Sanatana, when they went to Jagannath Puri. They visited Lord Chaitanya sometimes in Puri. Where did they stay? They stayed with Haridasa Thakur. Are they going to stay with Haridasa Thakur if they're not Sajati, if they're not of a similar disposition? They associated together in Puri, discussing these intimate or loving relationships. And this there where Rupa Goswami wrote his Lilita Madhava Vidagda Madhava, when he was there with Haridasa Thakur. Here we hear many things, and they're all true. No, not necessarily all true, but the ones we hear from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, maybe a few other places, they're true. But there are different perspectives of seeing the truth are there, depending on our level of eligibility to digest or to understand. Truth is sometimes revealed. So Haridasa Thakur is what he is, and for our perspective, he's Namacharya. He's the one we try to say, pray to, follow, and so on. So let's go forward today. Now we discussed not much, but we discussed a little bit today. Generally we know Haridasa Thakur. That's from chanting, isn't he? He's the chanter. We may be enchanted by his chanting, but he's famous for his chanting. It's probably the most famous factor of his presence, isn't it? He was always chanting the holy name. Kirtaniya Sadahari. Always chanting, day and night. Barely a moment passed. He barely slept. He wouldn't eat until he finished his allotted rounds, and they were more than 16. I don't know how many rounds you chant. Anybody chant 16 rounds here? Nobody? You can chant more. I think it's allowed. Is it allowed to chant more? Does the temple commander or temple president allow you to chant more than 16? What is this? We got things to do. You finish your 16 rounds. Yeah, they haven't got time to waste chanting. We got things to do around here. You finished your rounds during japa this morning, right? What were you doing? You nonsense. 2 hours is more than enough. Don't get 2 hours. 1 hour and 3/4 in Soho Street. You get 2 hours and a quarter here. If you have to move here, okay? More time to finish your 16 rounds. Finished. Get on with your business now. Now, real business. Managing, distributing books, that's all good, of course. Worshipping the deity, going to sleep, that's very important. Taking extra rest. You missed 1 minute's rest last night. Whatever it is, but we sometimes underscore the importance of chanting the holy names. You're welcome. Everyone's welcome. Well, I guess they are. I don't know. Haridasa Thakura welcomed a prostitute. You can see there's one of my disciples, not a professional artist. I just after experiment, she did this painting here. I mentioned yesterday the other 2 paintings are done by one of the permanent artists in the Jagannath Puri temple in Puri himself. He didn't really know much about Haridasa, so I wasn't there when he painted, and they wouldn't know exactly what I wanted him to do, but anyway, they're beautiful. And Aryan style of art, you can have a look if you wish. Haridasa Thakura is made from the wood from the bakul tree in Siddhabakul in Puri. And Prabhupada is made in Moscow, made in Russia, made of coins which were collected during the Prabhupada book marathon in Moscow. They made the deity coins. There's a few of them around ISKCON. More will be coming soon. We've just started. Janmastami launched the project to make them available for every devotee in ISKCON. And over here is 1 or 2 more. This one is, I don't know what you call it, they spray with some kind of coloured sand painting, also done by a disciple in Czech. So I never continued with the project. It was a long project and I stopped at that point. So usually we hear about him for chanting the holy names, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again and again. He loved to talk about Haridasa Thakura. He loved to talk about all of his devotees. There's parts, they're like his own parts and parcels. They're his own limbs, practically speaking. Sometimes he would address Haridasa like his little boy, his little child. Even Sanatana Goswami, when they're together, you're just like my little children. Sanatana was covered in wound, itch. We heard this recently. Sores which were oozing pus and stuff. Lord Chaitanya embraced him. Would a mother throw her baby away even if the baby had itching sores? Of course she wouldn't. Said, you're just like, unlike your mother, you're just like my little babies. And he embraced them. He would sometimes embrace Haridasa Thakura because I'm becoming, and they say, don't, my Lord, please do not touch me. And the Lord would say, I'm touching you to purify myself. You have qualities I do not have. And by your embrace, I may become purified or imbued with those qualities also. So Lord Chaitanya sees his pure devotees. Now stay away, don't come near me, you're dirty. You're contaminated. No, not like that. See the real quality inside. So here we see, I don't really want to read that one. Where do we get there? I don't know. When it comes to chanting, the topmost devotee is Srila Haridasa Thakura. And it was he who propagated the supreme truth about the holy name. Maybe a little bit quieter in the room next door, if possible. I'm sure they're enthusiastically preaching the message of the holy name next door. A little quieter. And we find that, of course, by the history of his life. And we also find it, we mentioned yesterday the book Harinam Chintamani. It's also there. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has revealed this teaching to the world of Haridasa and Lord Chaitanya. He preached, he wasn't just chanting. Now this one of the comments, maybe it'll come up later, but anyway. Lord Chaitanya said, you're the perfect devotee, right? Because you both practice and you preach. You don't just preach and not practice, or just practice and not preach. He did both. How on earth, you could say, how many rounds do you chant a day? 190 or something?
192.
Whatever. 300,000 is not 192, but anyway, it's nearby. But we understand he chanted 3 lakhs and sometimes 3 times 64. So it's something like 190 and 192 rounds, whatever. It's quite a lot of rounds. I don't know if you finished your 64. We said yesterday everyone's going to chant 64 rounds these 3 days. I'm sure you did because you wouldn't have taken breakfast. I saw some of you eating breakfast. You must have stayed up all night to finish your 64 rounds after the Harinam, right? Didn't sleep. All night chanting.
Didn't finish them, that's why I didn't take breakfast.
Ah, you didn't, there we go. So he's still chanting his 64 rounds. Would be nice, but we can't imitate Haridasa's Prabhupada. Well, you'll see, he says, we can't imitate him. He preached as well as practiced. He was, of course, his chanting maybe a little quicker 2 hours. Excuse me, I just kicked the camera. Is it still open?
Yeah, it's still open.
Okay. So, you know, we chant. I don't know how quickly you chant. You chant like 20 rounds an hour? How quickly can you chant? 2-minute rounds? There was one God brother, I remember, he said, wow, this is really good. I'm chanting my 1 round in 2.5 minutes. He says, it's really good. I can be really attentive when I chant real quick. I couldn't work out how that's possible. 2.5 minutes per round. You know how long that takes? You work it out. 16, 32, 40 minutes. Finish your rounds. Pretty good, huh? 40 rounds. Finish 40 minutes, 16 rounds. Nothing's impossible. He didn't stay in the movement, though. Nice devotee. I mean, he just couldn't follow, you know. We're not here just to finish the rounds, are we? Speed it up. Come on, put it on, you know, fast speed. Sounds like a pneumatic drill. Not our business, is it? It's a relationship. It's not just get him out the way so he can get on with life, you know. Get Krishna out the way quick as possible. Finish it. Finished. I will say, now I can do any damn thing I like. I finished my rounds. You never finished. Bhaktivinoda said, if you think like that in Harinam Kintam, you can read. That's a sure sign of inattentive or offensive chanting. If you think, I finished my rounds. Yeah, we may say that for the sake of qualification, but we never really finished. Hence, because he preached as well as chanted, of course we all know the pastime of Jogai Madai. Haridasa and Janananda going preaching all over, but he would preach elsewhere too. And hence he is the Acharya of the holy name, the teacher of the holy name, the giver of the holy name, the worshipper. Kirtankari, the worshipper of the holy name also. Whoever chants the Lord's names, or name, following Srila Haridasa Thakura's footsteps, will achieve the highest perfection in it. That's a quote of Janananda Pandit in Prema Vaivartas, another literature which, at least it mentions that much about Haridasa Thakura. He was known to all the devotees in Puri, highly loved by all the devotees. In Navadvip he wasn't so known until Lord Chaitanya, he wasn't known much at all in Navadvip until Lord Chaitanya started his nocturnal kirtans in the home of Srivas Pandit. Up to that point he'd been associating with Advaita Acharya. Hare Krishna. Oh, we have. Yeah. So up to that point he was basically unknown to the Mayapur Vasis and Navadvip Vasis. Then he became very dear to all the devotees. Only when Lord Chaitanya, we hear about that this morning, when Lord Chaitanya revealed to everybody the unknown glories of Haridasa Thakur. They didn't know. He'd come in, he was with Advaita Acharya, so he accepted. But they didn't know his pastimes because they took place, many of them, before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birth. And others took place during his years before he manifested his missionary spirit. So we can keep that door closed if possible. Oh, cheers are coming in, okay? As quiet as we can be. Thank you. Try to hear as we can. We'll open up for questions at different points if there are any. We're not in such a rush today because there's no Harinam Sankirtan going to tours, unfortunately. Unless you want to go. Nice yesterday, huh?
Yes.
Not as bad as you expected. France. Oh. People are nice in tours, actually. They're quite friendly. So Prabhupada says the 20th branch, well, Lord Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj writes, the 20th branch of the Chaitanya tree was Haridasa Thakur. You know, this is described in 10th chapter of the Adi Leela, and very wonderful chapter describing the prominent associates of Lord Chaitanya, the eternal associates of the Lord, who appear with him in his Gaur Leela. They're all eternal associates from Goloka, who appear in his Gaur Leela. Simply the same person, but they expand, they perform their pastimes in the various Leelas as and when necessary, according to the Lord's will. They appear along with him to facilitate his pastimes, bring him pleasure. And like we do, if we go somewhere, we like to be with our family or our friends, don't we? People we can relate with. If you ever go away, sometimes, even mundane, from the material perspective, you meet someone from your hometown, it's like, oh, wow. You feel like you're with an old friend almost, you know. So it's mundane. I want to speak of spiritual. The Lord sends his devotees into this world. As we may have heard yesterday, Haridasa Thakur appeared in this world approximately 35 to 36 years before Lord Chaitanya. Before. Advaita Acharya was approximately 50 years before. Many of them came earlier. Of course, his parents came earlier, his grandparents, obviously. But others also came earlier. Srivas Thakur, Malini. They all came earlier to prepare the way. To prepare the way. Make everything arrangements for the Lord's appearance in this world. And Haridasa Thakur was very much amongst those. In fact, when he was with Advaita Acharya, the Lord had not yet appeared. He was already staying with Advaita Acharya or nearby. The Lord had not appeared. They were praying. It's not just Advaita. Haridasa was also praying for the Lord's appearance. I think some of you didn't get enough sleep last night. You have an excuse. Work hard. Even Prabhupada said that about Janananda when he'd be sleeping during class. If you work as hard as he do, then you can also eat, and if you sleep, but you can eat like he does also. Don't imitate one side and not the other. So we shouldn't imitate Haridasa Thakur either without having the adhikar or the eligibility or the quality of devotion that he has. And he used to chant the holy name of Krishna 300,000 times a day without fail. Without fail. Oh, I'll catch up tomorrow. Never mind, nobody knows anyway. Nobody ever asked me whether I'm chanting my rounds, so what difference does it make? They used to do things like that, you know. There was, Prabhu, you okay with your rounds? Are you managing to finish your rounds? I don't know if anyone ever asked questions like that. In a loving way, not like in an aggressive in a way, but in a loving way asked sometimes. Maybe devotees having difficulty with his chanting. Prabhupada writes in the purport, certainly the chanting of 300,000 holy names of the Lord is wonderful. Wouldn't it be wonderful? I mean, I've known a devotees, I mean not all the time, but I've sometimes chanted 300,000 names in a day or over a period of days. Difficult to maintain in our, I mean, at our normal pace. Most devotees chant about 8 rounds an hour. Is that normal? How many do you chant an hour? I know the truth's coming out.
6.
Huh?
6.
6 an hour? What are you doing? You're the opposite extreme here. You're pretty dynamic on the Harinam, on the book distribution. You're real fast. But you're really concentrating. Prabhupada said, don't worry too much about the speed, but concentrate on hearing the sound. That's another thing, of course. But still, normally it takes about 8 rounds an hour. That's what Prabhupada wrote that. He said it shouldn't take more than 2 hours to finish 16 rounds. There, Prabhupada wrote it. So let's say, anyway, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, whatever. Let's say 8 rounds an hour. How many hours a day would it take to chant 192 rounds? Whoa. Well, I'll give you a clue. There's no time left for bathing, eating, or sleeping. Or anything else come to that. So how many hours a day? 24. You got it. Well done. That was clever. 24 hours a day. Kirtaniya said, how is it possible? No sleeping, no eating, not even time to do anything else. Sometimes we had devotees like that. I remember one devotee in London when I joined. He was a Brahmin initiated. So whenever they saw the temple commander coming, he would grab his Gayatri thread and sit there. It was a test of patience. Sometimes 15 minutes would pass. He still had his Brahmin thread wrapped around his finger. Temple commander's pacing up and down like this. And then eventually, usually he would win. The temple commander would walk out the room. He was trying to get in to do some service, so immediately chanting Gayatri. Prabhu, I've got rounds to chant. We said that this morning. Yeah, I've still got rounds to chant. But there's no one to wash the pots. I'm busy chanting my rounds. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So we can't imitate Haridasa. That was his contribution, his service to Lord Chaitanya. No ordinary person can chant so many names, nor should one artificially imitate Haridasa Thakur's behavior. We had one devotee when I joined, no, he joined after me. His name was Michael. I won't say his initiated name, you may have heard of him. Quite a renowned devotee in the beginning days. But he wanted to imitate. Prabhupada writes about imitation of some devotees who would try to imitate Haridasa. He tried to imitate Raghunath. And he spent, he would sleep not more than 2 or 3 hours a day. And he would only take cold showers. He would only eat food which was thrown in the bin. He would not eat anything else. Nothing. And he would go out on preach also. He would be out on book distribution by 8 o'clock in the morning. Go down the metros, come back about 10:30 and see what's in the bin after breakfast. Take a few scraps, go back out again. Come back after lunch, do the same thing, grovel in the bin. And then go out again, and he'd be up half the night chanting 64 rounds. For most of the night, 64 rounds. 10 the morning program and 10 the evening program. It's imitation. It's all premature. Even sometimes in the kirtan, he would fall asleep. I've never seen anyone do that. He would fall asleep in the air during the kirtan. I saw him chanting his rounds underneath the cold shower, holding his beads with the cold shower on to keep awake. Raghunath Das did not do that. Neither did Haridas. He wasn't born out of, passion or false ego or whatever, but born out of simple love for Krishna. In this case it wasn't. He ended up in hospital with, boils all over his body after a few months. And, had to stay there for quite a while as they tried to recover, bring him back to health again. Whole body was inside out was damaged. Anyway, that's imitation is a bit extreme. So Prabhupada says that no one can really do that, not artificially. It's essential, however, that everyone fulfill a specific vow to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Therefore, we have prescribed in our society that all our students, we mentioned this one, Prabhupada uses the word student again here, all our students must chant at least 16 rounds daily. At least 16 rounds daily. Such chanting must be offenseless. And we haven't not going to get into that. You can read in Harinam Chintamani if you want to go details there. Such chanting must be offenseless in order to be of high quality. Mechanical chanting. Now here Prabhupada is referring mechanical. The word is used in different ways. Sometimes it's just like a machine. And at other times it's used to describe offensive chanting. Chanting without any conscious endeavor, so to speak, you know. The mind wandering all over the place, allowing doubts to come in, and dwell on them, material desires, we dwell on them, or just not chanting attentively at all, not even chanting the names. It's just a mechanical exercise. There's no life there. No relation, no life, no conscious endeavor, no awareness practice. It's just you can't even remember if you started or finished your round sometimes. It's just you happen to do the beads that say you've done 16. Mechanical chanting is not as powerful as chanting of the holy name without offenses. So here Prabhupada is using offenses. So we begin with offenses. But naturally we're going to be chanting that type of mechanical chanting. But the other type we should not be doing. We should at least try to chant the names and chant on each bead. Mechanically try to do that side and try to chant each word and try to hear it and so on. But the offensive side, that may not be, that's perfection. When we're free of all offenses, that's perfection in chanting. So we should at least, Prabhupada said, try to chant without offenses. That's a key. There's a nice prayer. Let's try to learn this one. This is in Harinam Chintamani. In fact, this is the last verse of the Harinam Chintamani in terms of Haridasa Thakura's discussion on Namaparad with Lord Chaitanya. It's it, the 13th chapter of Harinam Chintamani, text 59. I don't, unfortunately, have the Sanskrit version, so there's no diacritic marks available, but you can probably get it. Dasa aparada. What is aparada?
Offenses.
Pardon?
Offenses.
Offenses. What does it literally mean?
Away from Radha.
Yeah, away or, displeasing, against Radharani. So it has a general meaning of offenses, but in a more specific way we could say displeasing or away from Radha. So offensive chanting is not going to bring us very close to Radharani, is it? If someone's offending you all the time, do you feel like associating with them?
No.
Not much. Maybe if you're into, get your own back on them. So aparada, dasa aparada. Yena vidaye napase. Kripakari Mahaprabhu Maji Nama Rase. Dasa aparada yena vidaye napase.
Dasa aparada yena vidaye napase.
Kripakari Mahaprabhu Maji Nama Rase.
Kripakari Mahaprabhu Maji Nama Rase.
Dasa parada yena vidaye napase.
Dasa aparada yena vidaye napase.
Kripakari Mahaprabhu Maji Nama Rase.
Kripakari Mahaprabhu Maji Nama Rase.
Why don't you try to learn this? It's a nice prayer, I think. And Haridasa Thakura was praying like this. Must be a good one. And Prabhupada doesn't mention it, okay. But that doesn't mean there are many prayers. And this is a very relevant one for those who are still somewhat offensive in their chanting. And sometimes people say, well, no taste for chanting. How do I get a taste? Someone devotee asked yesterday. It's a nice prayer which, added to other things, can be very beneficial. Very beneficial. If someone can find the Sanskrit, the original Sanskrit with the diacritic marks, please, that would be very nice to do. You might find it online, I don't know. And I can put it in with the diacritic marks, all being well. So you can get the right or more correct pronunciation. But it's nice if you want to take a snapshot, or you won't find it in the, you'll find the English, but you won't find the, the Bengali in this case. You won't find the Bengali in the general Harinam Chintamani unless you've got the original one. But the translations don't have it in. At least the 2 or 3 open don't have it in. Yes. O Mahaprabhu, he says, please be merciful to me, so that the 10 offenses never touch my heart. O Mahaprabhu, please be merciful to me, so that the 10 offenses never touch my heart. And I can always remain absorbed in the rasa of the holy name. Higher taste, huh? You're begging for that taste of the holy name. When will that day be mine? Offences ceasing, taste for the name increasing. We sang that song yesterday, remember? Kabi habi bolo sedi namar aparada guchi shudaname ruchi kripa bole habi vidoye sanchar kabi habi bolo sedi namar. When will that day come? No offences, taste for the name increasing. That's how it goes. I mean, as the offences go down, then the opportunity, or let's say the awakening of a taste will normally take place. It may not be complete by any means, but there'll be an attraction. An attraction will start to develop. As the sun rises, the mist is dissipated, and the heat of the sun starts to penetrate. So this comes up many times, this higher taste, pranadrishta devarta te. You're hankering for that taste. Okay, we're not on that transcendental platform, and we need to come. So we do need to, Prabhupada describes clearly that one must have a taste. If we don't have a taste, we will not be able to carry on. You won't continually eat a food with no taste, unless you're forced to do it, but that's not with love. If we willingly want to eat a food, there must be some taste of some kind in there which is pleasing to us, whatever the reason. You don't work if there's no taste. You may hate the work, but you love the money. There has to be some taste there. Something must be, some rasa, some mellow taste. Juice has to be there. Haridasa Thakura used to chant the holy name on his beads, Prabhupada says here, 300,000 times daily. Many devotees don't even chant 16 on their beads. Throughout the entire day and night he would chant the 16 names of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. One should not, however, imitate Haridasa Thakura, for no one else can chant the holy name 300,000 times a day. Such chanting is for the Mukta Purush, or liberated soul. We can follow his example, however, by chanting 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra on beads, Prabhupada says, on beads, every day, and offering respect to the Tulsi plant. The presence of Tulsi Devi is probably, again, another underestimated, underscored aspect of our seva. And of course it's not something that's taken lightly either, but at least in the temples there's usually a Tulsi plant or plants, and we can chant in front of it. Lord Chaitanya used to have someone carrying a Tulsi. When he go traveling sometimes, you have someone in front of him carrying a Tulsi plant on their head, and Lord Chaitanya will be walking behind chanting Hare Krishna. Haridasa Thakura is famous for chanting in front of Tulsi. A very important part. Tulsi is, again, eternal confidential associate of the Lord. In one sense, you may not realize it, but she has come in this world and she will reveal herself according to our devotion. Pure devotee giving her association while we chant. We have to chant in the presence of a pure devotee for our chanting to become purified, you could say. So chanting in front of Tulsi Devi is extremely purifying. Of course, if we're not there, we're not much different than the cockroach that's crawling across the floor. But if we're conscious, then great benefit is obtained by chanting in front of Tulsi. Prabhupada goes on, this is not at all difficult for anyone, and the process of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra with a vow before the Tulsi plant has such great spiritual potency that simply by doing this one can become spiritually strong. Therefore, we request the members of the Hare Krishna movement to follow Haridasa Thakura's example rigidly. If you don't have a plant, then get a picture. And in homes, unless the devotees are really serious and really Krishna conscious. I don't really recommend, because I see so many times Tulsi's, they get a Tulsi with all enthusiasm. Next time you come back, she's not, it's just a what do you call it, stem. There's no, she's left, or whatever you want to call it. Tulsi's always there, but she's unmanifested her presence, you could say, in many ways. It's not very inspiring for either the householder or those devotees who come, in one sense. So in the home, you're really, really serious. Some devotees have this. They have this loving ability. They have hundreds of Tulsi plants in their homes even. Wonderful. But not everyone has that aspect of devotion. So it's not a whimsical thing. Oh, let me have a Tulsi as well. As if she's some kind of commodity which you have to have. It's a consciousness which is important. Even a picture of Tulsi Devi, reminding us of her unique nature. Therefore, we request the members of the Hare Krishna movement to follow Haridasa Thakur's example rigidly. Chanting 16 rounds does not take much time, nor is offering respect to the Tulsi plant difficult. The process has immense spiritual potency. One should not miss this opportunity. Prabhupada's purport in the Ancha Lila, the section dealing with Haridasa Thakur's pastimes. So we'll just go on a little bit to some of his pastime. We don't have much time, but I have a lot of time that you may not have, because you have a schedule. I don't know what it is after this. Prasad is at 2 o'clock, not 1. And obviously we're not going to get very far. We haven't even gone into any pastimes yet, not to speak of. Tonight you'll be getting a little dose of a drama. I think they're doing a drama. What's the drama of the birth of Kalya Serpent?
It's called Harinama Strikes Back.
Harinam Strikes Back.
Harinama Strikes Back.
Harinam Strikes Back.
Harinama.
Harinama. Yeah, Harinama. Harinama. Sounds like an Australian. Harinama. Harinama, Prabhu. Narada. Narada. I don't say Narada, I say Narada. Narada moon. Narada moon. I can't say Narada. Narada. Have you seen that? Maybe. That means he has. So anyway, we're going to touch on one subject here. Now, when Haridasa Thakur appeared, he appeared in a village called Buron. Pronounced differently, spelled differently. He's now in Bangladesh. He's in the district of Jeshur district, near Kundu. That's supposed to be where he was born. All the authorized, let's say, can't say exactly biographers, but authorized devotees who commented upon this say that he was born in a Muslim family. The Prabhupada says that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that. All the way back we find that this is mentioned. And there are some who say no, he wasn't, but the authorized commentators or those who mention say he was born, authorized by Bhaktivinoda Bhaktisiddhanta, born in a Muslim family. We heard that yesterday. This was the Lord's arrangement. You'll be born in a Yavana family. Especially, this would be a very essential feature of my mission. That never mind where you're born, who you're born of, everyone is entitled to pure love of God. So he was born in that place. And there's very little, no matter what you read, I've never come up with many things and heard many things from many sources. No one has much idea what happened when he was a child. Pretty much nothing is there. It's only known that as a young boy, he left home. There's a difference of opinion why. We won't go there, but somehow or another he left home as a young man. Not even sure when, maybe puberty or something like that. He left home at a very young age. There's no mention of details. There's no mention of him associating with a devotee at that stage. There's no mention of him certainly of taking initiation. We heard yesterday, in one sense, he took initiation directly before he was born from Lord Chaitanya. There's no mention of anything after that. Some say, and this is completely authorized, that Advaitacharya was definitely his Siksha. There's no mention of Diksha, but Siksha, yes. So whatever it was, the holy name, as you may know from Jiva Goswami, does not wait for official initiation. Another lesson which he's teaching. Everyone can chant. However, it's not just a matter of I'm chanting, therefore Krishna. It's not like he's obligated. The attitude, the submissive attitude, the humble attitude toward the devotees, the surrendered attitude is essential that he had. So whatever the details there are, they're not mentioned. So he went into the forest. The forest is an area called Benapol. You know this name, Benapol. And he stated it's just a forest. There was a town nearby, but he chanted there, born in a Muslim family. He chanted there, and right then he was chanting 300,000 names. Maybe 24 years before Lord Chaitanya appeared in the world, or a long time before. He's already chanting 3 lakhs of names in the forest. And it was quite a thing because many people were aware of this. Hindus were also impressed. What is this? Some of them were not. Some of them were disturbed, but many of them were very impressed. What an amazing thing. A Muslim has become a Hindu. This is wonderful. But not everyone was thinking the same way. Some were feeling bad about it. They used to think like that when the boys went to India. What is this? You're a disgrace to Hinduism. You're belittling Hinduism. You're making a terrible show of Hinduism, they would say to us, Westerners.
Sorry to ask a question. Where did Haridasa heard the mantra first time?
Well, we mentioned earlier, there's no mention in his early life of meeting a devotee. There's no mention of him especially associating with a pure devotee. But we heard yesterday that Lord Chaitanya told him, when he was performing, as Lord Brahma at least, that when he was performing austerities in Antardweep, that in your next lifetime, when I appear next time, not next lifetime, you will appear with me, and your name will be Haridas, and you will chant the Mahamantra, 300,000 names a day. He already told him that. That was already there. And Lord Brahma is not an ordinary person, Prahlad Maharaj is not an ordinary person, and Haridasa Thakura is not an ordinary person. So, hearing, from our point of view as conditioned souls, yes, we're sadhakas, we're practicing. He has taken the role of a sadhaka as an acharya. Acharya takes the role of a sadhaka. It doesn't mean he is a sadhaka. He is, but he's also more than a sadhaka. He's in his siddha form. He's also eternally liberated. He's not practicing to become liberated. So, satatam kirtiyanto mam, the pure devotees are constantly chanting. It's not like, oh, I learned this at school. I learned this, in a book somewhere. Or somebody taught me. It may come over like that, but Haridasa Thakura was already naturally inclined. It's already in him. You get that from previous lifetimes even. Sometimes things come up, you don't know where they come from. It's like automatically comes out of us. We discussed that. Maybe we discussed it yesterday or not, I can't remember. But that sometimes happens. But in this case, he's liberated his soul. It's not a question of a memory suddenly turning up. It's a continuation of his eternal position, just appearing in different ways and forms to continue the Lord's mission. So I haven't got a direct answer to that. Usually they do hear from somebody, but there's no mention of that, exactly who he heard it from. But he's chanting 300,000 names, and as you may know, somebody wasn't too happy about that. What was his name? We're getting different suggestions here. They're both correct, but at this point of time in Benapol, who was it? Ramchandra Khan. He was a local landholder, big man, rich man. He became very envious. Now, were you taking a picture of that person back there for? What are you looking at like that? What are you up to? Very suspicious, very suspicious. What's going on back there? Nothing's going on back there. Anyway. Huh? No, whatever. But Ramchandra Khan was not at all pleased. Who is this low-class man and people are worshipping him? He's nobody. He's simply a duplicitous imitator. He's not qualified anyway. He was, you could say, a little bit of like a smarter, following the smarter lines. Huh? If you're not qualified to chant the mantras, you're not qualified to study the Vedas, you're not qualified to become a Hindu. You're a disgrace. So he was very envious, extremely envious. Envy is when you become unhappy when you see someone else praised. You become happy when they're defamed. You're wishing for their defamation. This was Ramchandra's mindset. He couldn't tolerate it. It was like people were respecting his personality. So he devised a plan. Then you all know the plan. What was his plan? He called all the prostitutes in the town together and said, I want you to go. One of you, who will do it in the dead of night? And I want you to tempt Haridasa Thakur and prove that he's a charlatan. He's just a cheat looking for name and fame. But actually he's no good for nothing. I will send my officer along, and as soon as you get together, he will arrest him and bring him to his rightful trial. So she said, no, let me first of all, go there and make sure that everything's fine. And then when everything's like, then next night, then you can do like that. Okay. This one prostitute was volunteered. Her name was Lakira. Lakira Hirabai. Come to it in a minute. Lakira Hirabai. Lakir means very expensive. She wasn't a cheap prostitute. Very, very, she was the richest of the, or let's say the most expensive in the whole area. She agreed to go. So she went. You know what's there the first night? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. She came, Haridasa Thakur welcomed her, and she said, I'm very sorry, but I've made a vow to chant 10 million names or something in a month, and I'm still chanting my quota. But if you're patient, I will answer whatever desires you have. Don't worry. You sit patiently, and maybe tonight we'll finish. So she sat down. Tulsi Devi was there. Even the prostitutes would offer their obeisance, their respects to Tulsi Devi, and she offered her respects to Haridasa. Even they were, respect was there. So all night long she waited. She tried to tempt him in various ways, but nothing was successful. And he kept chanting, I'm really sorry, I've still not finished my rant, but I assure you, if you come back tomorrow, I will finish tomorrow night, don't worry. So she went back, told Ramchandra, and came back the next night, the same thing happened. And now I've almost finished. Oh, really, I'm almost finished. There's just one day left. I've nearly finished. Tomorrow, I promise you, I will definitely satisfy whatever you wish of me. Because he was a young man, by the way. At that stage, he was a young man. She was a beautiful young lady. So, pretty difficult. Dead of night, alone in the forest, nobody around. Can you imagine? Not easy, huh? Not easy. Again, something we should never imitate. Thinking that we're Haridasa Thakur. We're not. Neither are we Ramananda Roy. We shouldn't imitate these great persons. We shouldn't imitate Ramachandra Khan or Ramachandra Puri either. Either side, we have to be realistic. Not this way or that too, where we would have a little common sense. But he was undisturbed, completely undisturbed. It was just like a lump of wood was set in front of him. Totally undisturbed. We would get even disturbed if there was a wooden... Men probably would. Ladies may not. And, you know what I mean. And so, but he was totally undisturbed. Third night came, she came really, really optimistic. And Ramchandra was optimistic. This night she's going to succeed in the mission. He came, offered her respects all night long. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And she was also going, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Like this on and off, she was chanting the names of Krishna. And eventually, the morning came. I finished my rounds! Now I can do anything I like. I know what you do. I hope not. You know, we possibly would succumb if we lasted that long. And he said, now, please ask me. Whatever you wish, I will fulfill your desires. But it so happened that, especially during the third night, her heart completely changed. She became totally purified and realized what a sinful mission she was on. This is terrible. Her heart just turned around like anything. And she surrendered. When Haridasa said that to her, she said, she completely revealed everything. Actually, I came here on this mission. I'm so sinful. And she just surrendered. Please forgive me. Please accept me. Please. She just surrendered to Haridasa. And Haridasa said, I know. Right from the word moment. I knew before you came what was going on. Well, the speaker when you came. I know Ramachandra Khan sent you here. That foolish person sent you here. I would have left this place immediately. But because you were coming, I knew you were going to come. And to bring you to pure devotional service, I stayed here. Otherwise I would have left immediately. Now she's come to that point of surrender. So she surrenders to Haridasa Thakura. There she is. She's no longer a prostitute now, she's a chaste, surrendered devotee. And she became very famous. Also, Haridasa Thakura asked her to give away all of her property to the local Brahmins. Go home, give everything away, come back here, stay here, on the spot you chant. I am leaving now, he said. You stay here and carry on chanting as I've been doing 3 lakhs a day. And I can't find it, but I've got a reference somewhere where it's in fact is described how he gave her Krishna prema. You cannot give something you don't have. He gave her prema. At what stage, how, nothing described to my knowledge. It said he gave her prema. So from one minute she's considered to be a prostitute, next minute she's a pure devotee by the power of the association of Haridasa, which is the wonder of his association. And then we probably have another picture somewhere coming up, isn't it? So this is whatever. Well, let me go back. Oh, we may have read it already. Too late. What is the lesson to learn here? One big lesson. Anyone is can. It doesn't mean you will. The word can is a flexible word. In other words, the opportunity is there for everyone. Whether we take it or not is nothing. What's another lesson here?
Neglect the mind.
Neglect the mind. Maybe you could say that. I think you have to go a little bit further than that.
Patience.
Excuse me?
The holy name is all powerful.
Holy name is all powerful. Putting these two together, yes.
One can be purified merely by association.
A very important point too. That's like another point, isn't it? We got these 2 points are teamed together, make another point. Your point is association, the power of association. Very important lesson. Extremely important. Did Haridasa Thakura start talking Prajalpa as soon as she arrived? Oh, you're very pretty. Where do you get your dress from? No. Well, you didn't ask anything, just by his association she changed. He didn't change by her association. Why?
Because he was already a pure devotee. He was already
He's a pure devotee, okay, above the modes. He had shelter. What was his shelter? He wasn't just... You try controlling your mind? Even in favorable circumstances is difficult, isn't it? Unfavorable circumstance, how are we going to control it? You're faced with the most tempting thing in the universe you can think of. Even he was tempted by Maya Devi herself at another time. Wasn't disturbed. She surrendered to him. Maya Devi surrendered to Haridasa, begging for his shelter. Initiate me in the holy name. But we could say, oh, I could do that, but believe me, this wasn't an ordinary prostitute. This wasn't an ordinary woman. And she used all the enchanting methods possible to try to tempt him. I won't go into details, but you can imagine. Can anyone tolerate that? Can you control your mind in that situation? I doubt it. You have to be pretty advanced not to be affected by that. So controlling the mind, ignoring the mind is okay. Is one thing. You could say yes to that. It's not enough, is it? We're not Mayavadis. That path can lead to Mayavad if it's just all about ignoring the mind. There's got to be something we have to take shelter of. And Haridas showed that. This is one of his most important lessons. Nirantara Namalao. Nirantara means to always chant, always, constantly, taking shelter of the holy name. Nirantara Namalao. There's danger at every step, but this is a specifically powerful challenge or temptation. He took shelter of Krishna and Krishna protects. This is a constant feature in Haridas Thakur's teachings. The importance of actually taking shelter, not just the mechanical, external, distant chanting, but the real taking shelter of Krishna, of Radha and Krishna, in their Nam Rup. So he took shelter of the holy name and was completely satisfied in that association. You have to have a higher association, which is more satisfying than the most tempting thing you can imagine or we can imagine in the creation. Nothing, all beautiful things in this world. What does Krishna say in the Bhagavad Gita? 10th chapter. Know that all... Excuse me? Know that all... What else? Huh? Yeah, they're but a spark of my splendor. It may look beautiful. The world around us sometimes looks beautiful, people look beautiful, animals look beautiful. Whatever it is, some things look beautiful, paintings, whatever. But they spring from but a spark of my splendor. Nothing, they're insignificant, and not even a drop in an ocean to the splendor of Krishna. That's the essence of taking shelter of Krishna. So of course, we're not perhaps on that level, so we have to be a little careful. But that's the lesson to be learned here, those 3 or 4 lessons which you've mentioned. Anything else to be learned from this pastime? Chaitanya?
Yeah, I would like to ask you a question. Some devotees, a few years ago, they wanted absolutely that everyone can have darshan of Jagannath, to be able to enter in the temple of Jagannath, in Jagannath Puri, to have his darshan.
I think this is a little different, isn't it, to the question?
That is related with Haridasa Thakura.
Yeah, but my question was, what can we learn from this specific pastime? This particular pastime which we just heard a little bit about. What can we learn from that pastime?
She just exemplified by listening to the chanting of him.
Yeah.
The chanting of him was purely, and that could be...
Hearing the pure chanting, okay, is related to association, it's taking it deeper. Any association may be favorable, it may not always be favorable either. Depends what level you're on and depends who you're associating with. So that's on a high level, by hearing from a pure devotee submissively, eventually, not initially. Yes?
Understanding that we're impure by nature, but because the holy name is pure in itself, we become purified because of it.
Well, you're pure by nature also. So we become covered over, impure by association. The soul is pure, but we're covered by impurities. That's all. So in the association of the pure name, those impurities are washed off. By hearing from a pure devotee, the impurities, if we hear it, can be washed off. That's a big topic. We have enough time.
Some Sukriti from performing service.
Excuse me?
Sukriti from performing service to Tulsi.
Secretary?
Sukriti.
Sukriti. Piety from?
From performing service to where she was bowing down to the
She bowed down. Okay, it's a nice one. She bowed down both to Tulsi and to Haridasa, even though a prostitute, who knows. It wasn't by chance, of course we understand. It's not by chance. Obviously from a previous life she's had some devotion there. Let's finish it first, huh? She has some devotion there. This is understood. It's not like one-off chance that she alone went to Haridasa. You know, we don't know what her previous, I don't know what her previous lifetime was or her history. But there must have been something there which gave her the Bhakti and Mukha Sukriti, allowing her to associate in the first place with Haridasa. Not just for a moment on the street, but for 3 consecutive nights to sit there listening to him chant Hare Krishna. Obviously it's not by chance that she got that opportunity. But I can't comment more on that. I've not read or heard on that one. I understand your point. It's a question we all ask. But that must be there. That something in her previous lifetime or earlier in her present lifetime enabled her to get this golden opportunity. What else can we learn? Yes.
Underestimate purifying effects of the offering obeisances to Tulsi plant.
Well, that was similar to the point that's mentioned because she had this sukriti of offering obeisances to Haridasa and Tulsi Devi. Therefore, she became eligible to hear the name or receive the mercy of the name. Any other lessons to learn here? Father Amanpo?
It's kind of similar to what Reddy said about taking shelter of her name, but with the prostitute and also with my Devi who visited him.
Similar pastime, very similar.
I mean, she was actually more provoking. You always say that you have to finish your rounds, but he stuck to his guns and he finished his rounds before entertaining anything. So maybe we can take a lesson from that as well. The mind furthermore.
Finish your rounds, okay? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, kind of put everything else off till we finish.
Yeah, priority. Getting your priorities in order. I mean, of course, it's not always we're not in the same situation. We're not sitting in a cave or in a forest. We're in a temple. We have, services and this, that, and the other to do. And we're not Haridasa anyway. We can go without sleep or eat. We do have to feed and clothe and what have you. But the principle is there, the chanting of 16 rounds, and Prabhupada just said that. He says, absolutely necessary to finish minimum 16 rounds. It's the priority, most important thing in one sense, in terms of our defined sadhana. Numbers or whatever. Most important path activity. Yes. What was your name again?
Mario.
Pardon?
Mario.
Milo.
Mario.
Mario. Italy?
Yes.
Nice Italian name. How many Italians are here?
3.
3 of you?
3.
3 Italians, my goodness. You're also Italian. Yeah, we have a little Italy in Paris. You should go there and preach. We have, Port d'Italy. We were there on Sankirtan. You came with me last week during the last month. We went down and book distribution. Yes.
Yeah, it's a very similar point to the ones that he doesn't, Haridasa Thakur doesn't reject or is not nor attracted nor rejects the
Good point.
He's in a
Yeah.
he's just taking shelter of their needs.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't pick that up. You picked it up from what Radharaman Prabhu said. He wasn't for or against. He was equipoised, neutral. Devotee doesn't reject the material energy, nor does he accept it. He sees it as Krishna's energy and how that can be for Krishna's pleasure. Mayavad is reject it. Karma is accept it. Devotees neither accept nor reject. They see this it's not mine to accept and reject in the first place. It all belongs, all the beauty. If there's beauty there, it's Krishna's beauty. It's not mine to enjoy or hers to think it's hers. It's Krishna's. So the devotee sees everything from Krishna's perspective, another angle of taking shelter of Krishna. Any other lessons? We're running out of time, I guess. We're going to finish on this. Yes, Mata?
I was thinking, like, in the same way that Haridasa Thakura was able to purify the heart of the prostitute by that pure chanting, in the same way Srila Prabhupada was able to purify the heart of so many hippies and make them into devotees in such a fast way. Like, so many.
Sometimes it happened on the spot, practically. It was amazing. And even, well, you know, still there are graduals. There's still usually certain things which enable that to happen on the spot. Not always, but usually there are. Some kind of Sukriti is already there for that to happen, just like that. And even with the Hirabai, it took, well, whatever reason, it was 3 nights. That's part of the pastime also, by the way. But it was 3 nights. And, you know, here we have, like, topmost Namacharya, and somebody's obviously got, and as described, she had Bhakti and Mukha Sukriti. There was already some Sukriti there, which enabled this to transform like that. So there's always got to be some kind of Sukriti. It doesn't always have to be. Krishna can do anything he likes. But generally that's the case. Some kind of Sukriti, a Gyata Sukriti of some kind, is already there for that transformation to take place so on the spot. So in the case of Prabhupada, just finish with Prabhupada, yes, there are many cases like that. I can even cite my own case. I briefly mentioned this morning that I was picked up in a basement. Everyone was on drugs. And it wasn't even with Prabhupada, because I already decided never to take drugs again, so there was some Sukriti there. It wasn't Bhakti Sukriti, but some Sukriti was there. I decided never to engage in meat eating again, so some Sukriti was there. I was praying for guidance in spiritual life, so some related to Bhakti Sukriti was there, you could say. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know who. I didn't know how. But I was praying to Jesus for guidance. I need some help. I don't know where to go with my life. So something was there. I wouldn't call it Bhakti Sukriti, but something was there. God knows, he knows. So anyway, that's where that transformation kind of, it was never complete in our case, but that's where it really kicked off. And it wasn't by meeting a devotee, it wasn't by meeting Prabhupada by any means, directly, indirectly. Just by reading, like, 2 Back to Godhead magazines. From that day I decided to start chanting Hare Krishna. From that day. That was it. I said, there's nothing else now, this is it. From that day. Yes, Mataji?
It's because, like your story, you just surrendered to the process. And to me, I think like she just surrendered to it.
She surrendered to the process? She surrendered to the process. That's another major factor, isn't it, from this? If she surrendered to his instructions, she also got prema. She got the highest perfection of life. She did exactly what he said. Oh no, I don't need to give these things. I can stay here and just chant. No, that's another lesson, by the way. To come before God, you have to be naked. That doesn't mean what you immediately think it means. It means we're not attached to anything in this world on our own account. We let go of all those subtle and gross, whatever, identities, sarvupadi, vinirmuktam. Let go of those upadis. Tutpadavena nirmal. She did. She completely surrendered. Gave everything away. I mean, she was quite well to do. You know, I mean, probably people thought she was crazy. Cut her hair. She dressed very simply, like a sadhvi, enunciate. She gave all her wealth away. Worshipping Tulsi. That's the positive side. But on the other side, she gave everything away. Everything. You know, what happens to us when we come to Krishna? People think you're mad. Yeah, you're crazy. You got a degree. You could become a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer or something useful, and you've just thrown it all in the bin. You idiot. You idiot. You'll realize it later on, but it'll be too late. You listen to me. I'm telling you the truth here, boys and girls. You are idiots. You could all be, enjoying yourself in the material world. Driving, we heard this morning back to Chris, is dreaming of a Porsche car. You could have a Porsche car probably. Beautiful, this is not for the ladies, a beautiful girlfriend and all kinds of nice, attractive features. You could have a nice house on the Côte d'Azur, south of France, huh? Right? You could be going to Monte Carlo and enjoying the gambling there. And the big yacht and calm. You could go out on the Mediterranean enjoying yourself in your big yacht. Then driving your Porsche up the highway towards Paris for a weekend in Paris. And never mind, I get 10 speeding fines on the way. So what? Peanuts. 5,000 euros. Who cares a damn? You know, lose my license. I just have a chauffeur anyway. Who cares? Doesn't matter. He can lose his license and I'll get another one. You got money. You can enjoy. What are you doing here? Eating lettuce leaves. I saw you eating lettuce leaves yesterday. Sleeping, goodness knows where, on the floor. Look at you sitting on the floor on a wretched little cushion here. Look at his watch. It's a plastic watch. It's even worse than mine. Giving all your money to that big puffed up guru sitting on that big chair, getting all the respect. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Gurudev, tell me what to do. Jump off the top of the building. Went, yes, Gurudev, whatever you say. You fool. Oh, sorry, Gurudev, you told me to do it. You idiot. You have to understand what it means. You're just a bunch of, called cabbages, huh? Don't know what you're doing. I mean, people think like that, right? Maybe your family said like that. Right? So, but she also had, she was a very respected person. He gave it all away. If you're nobody, it's not such a big deal, is it? But when you've got a lot and you're highly regarded as the most important prostitute in town, that's a pretty big position to hold. Gave it all up. Raghunath, all up, pum pum. And Rupa and Sanatan, pum pum. But they didn't just give it up. They embraced, as you just said, as someone just said. They embraced the direction of the Haridasa, the beautiful, the higher taste. Much higher. Dhruva Maharaj said, what did he say? He approached the Lord, what for? He approached the pure devotee for various reasons. What did Dhruva Maharaj approach the Lord for? Kingdom, greater than his great-grandfather. But what did he say eventually?
As a fool.
Yeah, I'm a fool. What did he say?
I was looking for, I found a gem. I was looking for pieces of broken glass.
He compared the whole kingdom of the universe to a piece of broken glass. Compared to the jewel, this invaluable, immeasurable jewel that I've now attained of your lotus feet. I remember one time Radhanath Swami told a similar story in Vrindavan, that one devotee he was staying with, forgotten his name, some of you may remember, before he became a member of ISKCON, this took place. And this devotee was very old and very poor. He lived on the floor. He had no food, nothing, practically just a few chapatis now and again. He had no money, and he was completely satisfied. Wonderful devotee. And he would never talk about his life, never. What is it? Not important. Just worship Krishna. That was his only thing. He had a little deity in a hole in the wall. And so many things. Very humble. Would never accept service from others. One day this elderly lady came to the same place. His temple that they were staying in the hole somewhere. And she also started doing the same thing as he did. Never. But she spoke English. Both spoke English. And Radhanath, who was not initiated, Richard, asked her, just talking, like loose talking. She revealed who she was. She previously was married to this other devotee, this man, in early life. They were married. They were from Rajasthan. And he was the prince of this area of Rajasthan. He was the next king. There are many states in Rajasthan in those days. Next king. His parents were rich, king and queen. They went when they were young, he was married, he got married. And they all went to Vrindavan for a pilgrimage. They got to Vrindavan, this was the young man, the prince's first trip. He fell in love with Vrindavan. Decided he would never go back to Rajasthan. going to stay here. He fell in love with Vrindavan. Parents said, come on, you're married, you're the prince. No, I'm staying here. Oh, all right. Said, don't worry, we'll come back again. Next time he'll realize he'll come back. This happened a few times. They came back from Rajasthan to Vrindavan to try to bring him back, his wife. And of course it was devastating for her, I guess. But he wouldn't budge an inch. And eventually said, look, son, we're going to, sometimes they write you off the will when you become a devotee. I know a lot of those whose parents wrote them off the will. Many times this happens. They wrote him off the will. You are no longer eligible now. We're going to cancel you, as they say in Facebook. We're going to cancel you. You're going to be a poverty-stricken beggar. Don't you realize it? For the rest of who's going to look after you when you get old? You're going to be a poverty-stricken beggar for the rest of your life if you stay here. You could have all the riches. You could be the next king. You're supposed to become the king now. Beautiful wife. You're going to have nothing. You'll be a wretched creature. He picked up one grain of dust from the floor in Vrindavan. He said, what do I care about the whole universe? Even if you make me the king of the universe, this one grain of dust is unlimitedly more valuable than the whole possession of the universe. What do I care about a paltry kingdom? They realized he was serious. That was that. And then later on, his previous wife came and did the same thing. Many years later, decades later. That's how you see it. And of course, that's like a negative example, but it gives the understanding that really everything we see of value in this, as we read yesterday, bits of straw, these material pleasure, just like bits of straw upon the ground, valueless. We put so much value on ourselves, on our bodies, on our enjoyment, on our achievements, on our property, on our whatever it is. We put so much value on it. We fight over that. This is the illusion. This is what has to be given up before we can take. You could say they go simultaneously, but for pure devotional service, that all has to be. You have to let go of it. And realize that's real shelter. When we just take shelter to Krishna, whatever you do to me, my Lord, is the mood of a devotee. Depend on the Lord. Totally. Doesn't mean we don't do anything, but we're always in that mood of dependence, that mood of shelter. So she accepted that, she let go of everything else, Sarva Dharma, then pure devotion starts. And she was able then to stay there, continue the legacy, you could say. Haridasa went on. But our time is way overdue, we're 20 minutes overdue, and we've only done 1 out of 8 pastimes I wanted to go through.
Will you say for this pastime that just narrates that we should follow by example but not imitate?
Yeah.
Should this be the case?
Well, what is the example of? We don't have a historical reference other than that which took place in Antardweep in the case of Haridasa, but we do have a historical example in the case of Lakir Hirabai. So she followed completely in his instructions. She did what he said. She didn't do what she thought, what she wanted. He told her to do that. If she wasn't ready, he wouldn't have told her to do that. So we follow in the line of authority. That's following in the footsteps. We don't jump over that and try to imitate like Hirabai. We don't do that. So that's the following. Follow in the line. Das, 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 anu, das. But what may be given to us may be different to what's given. Even amongst devotees, you don't imitate another devotee. You may try to, you may be inspired by them. You may even have a feeling of wanting to emulate their behavior. But you don't imitate it. You have to become eligible. So you may be given a different directive than someone else. Both in your practical activity and in your sadhana. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj would give sometimes 4 rounds to his disciples as their quota. Sometimes 8, sometimes 16, sometimes 64. It wasn't black and white, as we often hear. So he knew, pure devotees know what is your eligibility and what is good for you. It's like an expert doctor. If you don't know, if you're not a doctor, what will you do if someone comes to you? And Prabhupada tells that example of one apprentice vet, veterinary surgeon, veterinary doctor, whatever, not surgeon, doctor, who, he was an apprentice. He was studying under a qualified vet. And so first day out on experiment, they came across a horse. He once said, here's a horse. Let's see. This horse had a big lump in its throat. So the vet took a little hammer, went tap, 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 quite hard. Horses got quite tough throats. Boom! Eventually the lemon or whatever, it shot of it, it swallowed a whole big fat fruit, got stuck in its throat. The fruit popped out of its mouth. The apprentice said, oh, that was pretty easy. Any dude could do that. It wasn't very difficult. Anyway, he was thinking a little bit puffed up. So the apprentice, later on, maybe that very day itself, he was walking home, and he saw a man sitting on a bench. And the man was called a goitra. It's like a growth in his throat, which is like, I don't know what it's made of, but it's very nasty and it's dangerous. So he said, okay, hey, I know what to do. I can solve your problem. Just sit still. Close your eyes if you want. Sit still. He took a hammer and started whack, whack. Ah! The guy died on the spot. Try to imitate. You have to have knowledge, not just, sentiment. Knowledge must be there too, what we're dealing with. The expert doctor knows that that is not the same situation as a horse that swallowed a lemon or whatever it swallowed. Get the point? We have to hear from the right authority what it means, not speculate on these things. We do sometimes, but what is that? Prabhupada said, he writes that, we don't have it here, but in one of his comments on Haridasa Thakura, he said, and some of my disciples are trying to imitate Haridasa Thakura. And they go into Mayapur, they want to imitate Haridasa. So he gave them an opportunity in some cases. There's one, I was there at the time, I don't remember his name. One American devotee wanted to imitate Haridasa, so I said, okay, you have to go and live out there in the banana plantation in a hut, and all day long and night chant. You can't, you've got to chant, and you don't give classes, no classes, nothing. You eat once a day, you just chant all day long. So he went doing that. Didn't last very long. Another one, he did it, unknown to us. He thought he had cancer, he was about to die, so let me go straight into the deep end and become Haridasa Thakura the second or something. But then, some or another, his visa expired. He had to go back to America, he had another check. They told him, you don't have cancer anymore. Okay, that was the end of being Haridasa Thakura. He went back to his life again, It's imitating, It's false, the wrong, completely misunderstanding what it means. And we follow, we don't imitate. We try to imitate Prabhupada. And we right on our doorstep, we try to imitate. Who can imitate Srila Prabhupada? And sometimes the devotees say, well, Prabhupada never went for Mangalarti, so I don't go either. One of my arguments. Okay, then you have to, you have to start translating from 12 o'clock at night till 5 o'clock in the morning. And, write hundreds of letters every day, give 2 classes a day, and give, counseling, darshan, whatever, to hundreds of people every day, and travel the world all the time, and deal with all, and this is the biggest austerity of all, deal with all the managerial problems of the movement, which overseeing. You have to do all that too. There's a nice story too of a king and his minister. The minister was like a bit envious of the king. The king, kings are pretty respected guys. They get all the pomp and glory, He sat there on his big throne. People are coming and bowing down and following his command. And he said, what's wrong with you, minister? You're a king, you're getting it all. Okay, you want to be a king? You want to be the king? Okay, you can be the king. Really? Yeah, I don't mind. You can be the king. Come back tomorrow. You can be the king tomorrow. He came back the next day. The throne was there. The king got off the throne. And he said, here you go, sit down. And he looked up. There was this razor-sharp dagger hanging on a tiny bit of cotton right above the head. Right above his head. He said, wait a minute, what's that? It's a dagger, razor sharp. Well, it's just a piece of cotton. It could fall down at any moment. You're right. But wait a minute, what's this? He said, that's what it's like being the king. At any moment, the dagger can fall in your head. At any moment. Not maybe you don't see it, but that's what can happen. You're the one. You don't just get one side of the coin. You have to take both sides. They don't realize it. They think it's all, false respect or whatever it may be. But the other side is another thing altogether. That's a material example. But he gives the idea, of course, because it's completely surrendered to Krishna. Pure devotee is, another thing altogether. But still, that's there. You have another kind of consciousness, that Paradukkha, burning in distress at the pain of other living entities, suffering. Look at Haridasa. That was his situation. Lord Chaitanya tested him at one point when in Puri, and he called Haridasa. And Lord Chaitanya looked very distressed. He looked very distressed. I said, my Lord, why are you looking? I'm so concerned. Okay, the Sankirtan is going on, and the human beings are taking up the chanting, but what about all the non-moving and living entities, the stones, the trees, the other living entities? What about them? You've delivered the animals already in the Jarakhand fast, but what about everybody else? Haridasa said, my Lord, rest assured there's nothing to worry about. By the loud chanting of the holy name, even the non-moving living entities will be delivered. When you sometimes hear an echo when you chant, he said that's the non-moving living entities chanting back. We don't see it like that. That's how Haridasa sees it. Do not worry, my Lord. You've done it. It's being done through the Sankirtan movement. Every living entity is being delivered. Everyone. Everyone. And they're all going to be delivered. And Lord Chaitanya, in a different situation, said, even though they've all been delivered, we hear this also with Vasudeva Dat. It's another interesting thing. Vasudeva Dat is also Prahlad Maharaj, by the way. So now you've got another scenario. One scenario was 2 or 3 people appearing as Haridasa. Then you've got one person appearing as 2 or 3 people. It becomes equally mystifying to a conditioned soul. So, we did discuss that yesterday, so we won't go there again. But in this particular case, he said, even if the whole universe is delivered, they're all delivered by your mercy, Lord Chaitanya said, because of you, Haridasa, because of Vasudeva Datta also. That nobody will notice anything happened. We sometimes think, well, nothing's happening. Everyone's still saying, we don't really know what's going on, even on this platform, another mystifying thing. We don't really know what's happening behind the scenes, but what we see. That nobody can really, because we're only seeing material, time, matter, space. Pure devotees see beyond that. The Lord Chaitanya said, even if they all go back to Godhead, still the universe will look just the same as it did before. As if nobody left anywhere. He said, because immediately I'll awaken all the dormant living entities who are just waiting, and they will fill up all the apartments, or all the bodies, so to speak. You won't notice any difference. Well, you won't be there to notice a difference anyway. But it won't, if you were, it wouldn't look like anything happened at all. Life goes on as normal. Another set of living entities have moved in. And he says, like the prison, Prabhupada describes like a prisoner. Just because you released all the prisoners, it's at the end of the prison. It'll be full up in no time, don't worry. It will soon, probably one person said, look, if Swamiji, if everyone becomes like you, there'll be nobody left. Because one time Prabhupada said, you've understood our mission. That, this material would finished. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. He said, don't worry. First of all, not everyone's going to do it. Anyway, they're not going to surrender. Secondly, there's unlimited living entity. It'll be filled up in no time. Don't worry. There won't be devoid of living entities. There are unlimited living entities, both in this universe and countless universes. It's beyond there. They're everywhere. There's Sarvagata. They're living entities everywhere. We can't see. We can't see. Inert living entities. Not conscious. Come to consciousness at one stage or another, and then move immediately. Things can be done by the arrangement of the Lord. Nobody will notice. So it's quite mystifying. So Haridasa Thakura was an ocean of compassion for other living entities. He wasn't just doing it for his own sake. He was the manifestation, along with Vasudeva Dutt, of absolute compassion for all the living entities of the universe. We have to finish there. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Haridasa Thakura ki jai. Gaur Premanand. So now it's almost time for lunch. 2 o'clock is lunch today, by the way, on Sunday. And this evening I think we're having a movie. Is that right? A movie? A movie? I read movie.
Yeah, we've kind of cancelled that.
You cancelled the movie? Oh my God, I got my popcorn and ice cream ready already.
Some devotees were requesting
No movie.
some relaxing time. So
Oh, we're having a relaxing time tonight.
Yeah, so we're going to have a drama though. We're having a drama at 7:30.
Every moment's a drama, yeah? What do you mean having a drama? Everything in life is a drama. Isn't it? Especially at New Mayapur. When your vehicle broke down yesterday, we went on Sankirtan, Harinam yesterday. The latest vehicle broke down yet again. This is part of your saga. I hope it's okay now. Is it okay? You don't look very confident. You don't know. Well, did you get back in the vehicle? It got back. Gandharvika said we put Krishna in the vehicle and it moved.
Yeah.
What's it called? Blue something? Add blue. They added blue. They phoned up London to talk to the owner of the hire company. So you have to put add blue in there. I don't know why they didn't tell you that before. But you had to put add blue. So they added blue. They added Krishna to the engine or whatever it is. And they immediately worked. Pretty good answer. Add Krishna and everything will work. Everything's fine. So did you get back last night with your ad blue? So anyway, someone said, oh, they thought this was like a big issue. And Lochana said, big issue? This is not a big issue. This happens every single day here at New Nothing. Every single day there's electricity breaks down, the water breaks down, a car breaks down, a devotee breaks down. Every single day something breaks. Doesn't work. Every single day. It's not like a saga, it's a drama. It's part of the drama. It's all part of the drama. There's a reason for everything. So you're going to have a drama instead of the movie, is it?
Yeah, the drama's called Harinam Strikes Back.
We heard that earlier. Harinama strikes back. This is the great escape. Now you're striking back again. I thought you were trying to escape from all of that. Now you're striking back again. You can't keep them down here. They come here for a retreat and now there's so much passion. They're going to strike back again. Relax. Take it carefully. Take it peacefully. A nice relaxed drama, you know. Some lila. Some nice lila. The ladies are doing the drama, are they?
Oh, we have lots of drama already.
You had enough.
Yeah,
You had enough drama here at New Mayapur already. Enough's enough. So you're not doing. Who's doing the drama?
The men's ashram.
The men are doing the drama. Oh my goodness. You gonna watch?
Yeah.
You are, okay. Open to everybody, or
Yeah.
And you know.
you better advertise it so that everybody knows. Usually in New Mayapur we have. Oh, he just walked out. Fanny Bhushan is our dramatic director. Raja Dharma sitting over there is also a dramatic director. They are our drama men, 2 of them. And, yeah, they like their dramas here.
You are the best in drama.
Who is? Why do you say that for?
I'm
just nonsense.
the day after
We were together, okay. We were together in Vrindavan on Brajmandal Parikrama one year. Quite a few years, 15, 20 years ago, I think. Quite a while ago. And Lokanath Maharaj, in his usual spontaneous way, asked me to do dramas every day at the in the evening program. Oh, what dramas? You have to find it. You have to do it yourself. So every night I would stay up for hours and hours writing the drama. There's no time to rehearse because we're walking all day long. We have like a quick run through with 2 or 3 people who might be in the drama or might not be in the drama. But we're having a drama. Who am I? Oh, you're whoever it is, Rikasura or something. I was Rikasura actually. You know, everywhere we went, we tried to get a drama which was relevant to the various place we were in, spontaneous. And Rajadharma, we were staying together, Rajadharma and myself, in the tent most days, or in a room or wherever. I didn't know you were so good at drama at that time. I don't think did I engage you in the dramas? It's mostly the youth, wasn't it? I mostly engaged the youth, the young boys and girls in the drama, mostly. There's a lot of youth on the person. That was interesting.
Stage of material, to fix, where to fix the drama. I have what I had in Paris, this structure.
Yeah, we have no structure.
I have still.
You have it, yeah, but we didn't have any structure there. It was just spontaneous. Wherever you were, you had to do it. Oh, we'll talk about dramas. Maybe I'll talk about that one tomorrow. The most prolific, profound drama I think I've ever been organized, playing in, etc., was regarding Haridasa Thakura. That was in front of about 7,000 audience. I think it was the most exciting and most miraculous drama I've ever been involved in. I'll tell that tomorrow because it's related to the pastime which I have to tell. I can't go without that. Huh?
What it was?
Jagannath Puri. Huh? No, not at all. That's a boring pastime. How many times do you want to see it from different angles? I don't know before we get the point, you know. It's always exciting though. Every time it's different, you know. Some weird guy playing Madai and, you know, there's always something funny goes on. Different things, they bash him on the head with a pair of cartels or bash him on the head with a bottle or clay pot, whatever it is. There's always some variety there, but there's a lot more to the story than meets the eye. On that one too. But usually it's just a pretty simple, simplistic drama, which is very essential to, obviously it's you can say it's the thrust of our movement, basically speaking. But no, you don't do that to people who are, you can't do that with devotees. They've seen it hundreds of times. They're all Indian, the whole audience was, you know, Hindi, Bengali, Aryan, like that. You have to do something a little different. Anyway, I'll tell that tomorrow. So suspense. I'm not even going to indicate.
Is it true that one day someone died on the
well, that's what I was told. When I was in Vrindavan, earlier than when we were on Parikrama, we used to do a lot of dramas in Vrindavan and during the festivals. And one of the devotees I worked with was a professional actor. Forgotten his name. He was from Maria. And he told me that when he was being a young man, his teacher was explaining the essence of drama. And he gave the example of the previous century, one of the most famous Aryan actors and the whole essence of drama is to completely identify. Now this goes on in the spiritual world, by the way. I was reading this morning. It's a bit esoteric, you could say. But this is the nature of the manjaris. That they're completely, they adopt absolutely the whole sentiment of their, whoever they are, you know, Lita Devi or whoever it is. They develop, Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari. They completely develop their whole being. They don't have any separate identity practically. They're separate, but they're not. This is one with God, in the real sense of the term. They completely identify with that position as what they are as manjaris. Absolutely, there's no separateness at all outside of that. That's their whole existence. So in dramas like that too, the more you can identify with that role, that part, if you're Advaitacharya, Prabhupada was in drama, he told the stories of when for a year or 2 years they practiced and practiced and practiced to develop the actual consciousness as close as one can of that particular part in the drama. You're a Vaitacharya, Srila, Thakura, Malini, whoever you are in the drama, Sita, Thakurani, whoever it may be, do Bromo. People do that in material life, they imitate, but this is actually to develop the actual consciousness, not just dress or, they don't depend upon dress. It's the inner heart that has to be changed, not the dress, not you dress up like Jarasandha, therefore you're Jarasandha. You have to have the actual mood of that part. So that's what the real training is to develop that mood. They don't even need costumes. They don't need stages. Prabhupada used to glorify Charlie Chaplin. He was like that. He didn't even need to speak. He was so expert actor. Prabhupada said he was an incarnation of Hasyaras, the humorous mellow, indirect mellow of Krishna Lila. He laughed and laughed when he would see Charlie Chaplin. Seems like mine. He said, no, I'm seeing Krishna's Hasyaras personally manifesting here through this person. He had a lot of credit there. And in fact, Charlie Chaplin got Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita in his last days, by the way. Gurudas got it to him. He was living in Switzerland. Anyway, aside from that, that's the art, to completely forget your identity. That's how Maya works. She's the best director of drama. As soon as we come under her influence, you forget who you are. You forget you're a spirit soul. You forget your relationship with Krishna, whatever that is. You completely forget it. And you totally identify with the part you find yourself in the material world. As a pig, as a human, even Indra as a pig, he completely forgot he was Indra. You completely identify with the part. And only then can you play. As soon as you start doubting your part, your life's a mess. People suffer from identity crisis now a hell of a lot, even within Maya. Because they don't know who they are, they don't know where they fit in. But the actual essence in Maya is, the more you identify with your part, the more successful you are materially, up to a point. Leaders, they totally identify. I am the leader, and I am the leader, and I am the leader. And you are not the leader, I am the leader. And their whole life is, based on this, whatever, businessman, the same thing, a housewife. You identify with it, and you live that part, no matter what happens around you. That never stops to the day you die. You live that part. So in dramas were like this. He told me that in Orissa there was this one actor. He was so famous. He was such a good actor. This is back in the 19th century. He was so expert. He would so expertly portray the part of the drama. You almost really felt like you were living it. It was like fully alive. It wasn't just reminding you. You actually felt it was there, right with you. So one drama, he was playing the role of Nrsingadev. Playing the role of Lord Nrsingadev in this drama. And literally speaking, on the stage, platform, whatever it was, he physically ripped the stomach open and tore out the intestines. He got so absorbed in the drama, he was completely oblivious to who he was and what was going on. He was just so angry with Hiranyakashipu. He was so angry with the demigods. He was so angry. He just wasn't him. He just ripped the guy to shreds. Blood everywhere. The guy died on his lap. It was like, everyone's aghast. It was like, wow, this is an example of don't imitate. He wasn't imitating, by the way. It became a court case, obviously. In those days, there was a little bit of, spiritual understanding. And again, they tested him from every single angle. They were absolutely, he had no idea that this happened. None. He had no recollection whatsoever. And they were convinced it wasn't him. It was like the divinity came through him and did it, not him. And he was acquitted. But he was banned from drama for a while. He came back in after a while, and we were going to be very careful what part we give him. He's dangerous. It's a dangerous situation, especially for the other person. No more Nrsingadevs for him, And so anyway, later on he got the part in the drama, his Ramayana, he got the part of none other than Dasarath, the father of Lord Ram. And when in the drama, when Lord Ram left Ayodhya, he dropped dead on the stage. He couldn't tolerate living anymore. He dropped dead on the stage. That's an actor. And we're not saying you should imitate that, please. But that's the real stuff, you know. It's the real thing. You know? In one sense, the demons are like that. In one sense, in many cases, they're like actors on the stage for Krishna's drama, isn't it? They're completely forgetting who they are. I mean, even Duryodhana, Prabhupada says he's an eternal devotee of Lord Balaram. He's not a demon. He's acting as a demon. But he's actually Lord Balaram's eternal assistant. That's why Balaram always loves him. He couldn't tolerate, you know, he had to because it was, you know, the pastime. But he couldn't tolerate, you know, Bhima killing Duryodhana or Arjuna, you know, getting in the way in marrying Subhadra. She was meant to be married to Duryodhana. Balaram couldn't tolerate all this. He had to leave, you know. Because Duryodhana is his servant, playing the role of a demon in this pastime. There's much more to it than meets the eye in these pastimes, playing parts. But you've got to play the part, you completely forget. Hiranyakashipu, no consciousness whatsoever that he was Jai or Vijay in Vaikuntha. Completely none. You have to be absolutely envious, absolutely lusty, absolutely angry. Personification, practically, of those qualities. Fear, in the case of Kamsa. You know, almost like materially speaking, as close as you can get to a personification of those qualities. Otherwise you can't really play the part, you know, properly. You'll be scared. Be scared stiff. I mean, Hiranyakashipu wasn't even scared by Nrsingadev. Who is this strange creature? What is this strange creature that's come before me? Half man, half lion, what is it? He was ready, he got immediately he was ready to go for him, you know. Even Duryodhana brushed off the universal form just like an LSD experience or something. It was nothing. Yeah, they're, you know, not ordinary characters.
You said the mandiris are,
huh?
You said the mandiris are fixed in a row, this mandiris.
Mandiris.
Where does Rasa Bas come into
it? It doesn't. It doesn't. Not to that. There is no Rasa Bas. That's their constitutional. It's not like the jiva who may develop that mood. For the eternal associates of the Lord, the Nityasiddha, there is no Rasa Bas. It's rasa. Everything is perfectly harmonious. They're playing their part. A Rasa Bas is, say, for instance, a simple example maybe, when your foot tries to, you know, and maybe there's certain exceptions, it has to do it. When it tries to act like the hand, that's the Rasa Bas. It has its role. The role of the foot is to walk, or to whatever it does. The hand is to pick things up and this and that. That's harmonious with the whole. When the part plays an unharmonious place, that's Rasa Bas. We're in Rasa Bas right now. The whole material world, from the spiritual point of view, is Rasa Bas. We're trying to adjust that to become Rasa. This movement is to awaken Rasa. So you have to understand in the process of devotion and service the difference between Rasa and Rasa Bas. Otherwise we make gross errors. Try to imitate the behavior of certain devotees we have no eligibility for, speculate on it, interfere with someone else's progress in spiritual life because we're envious, etc., etc. There's a room for, there's variation in the spiritual world, and you can see that in Nectar Devotion, how different secondary rasas, the indirect ones, like humor was one we mentioned just now, or horror, these different secondary, they're compatible in certain places in the positive ones, but not always. Then they become rasa basa when the wrong humor is in that. It's like the relation between Mother Yasoda and baby Krishna. There's no room there for conjugal love. No question of that. There's no room there maybe for horror or something like that, you know, mother and child, you know. But in another relationship there may be, you see. becomes rasabhasa. You have to mix. And it's like food. You know, you take lunch, and you know sometimes there's a rasabhasa in the cooking, right? Instead of salt, they put sugar, or sugar and they put salt. That's a real extreme example. When someone puts salt in their sweet rice, you know sweet rice, kheer? And you put salt in instead of sugar. What is this, you know? This is really a rasabhas, you say. Or people coming together, they just don't mix. You put two people together, they're never going to agree. At least not at their stage they're in now. The rasabhas, you have to know what is compatible. What is compatible? The internal associates are all expansions of the divine form of Krishna, or Radha and Krishna. There's no question of them becoming, you know, abhas. There's no question of that. No question. They're their own personal expansions for the fulfillment of their own inner desire. We're different. We're Tatastha Shakti. We're not the same Shakti. You can develop the mood of that Shakti, but you can't become that. You can be in that association, in the same spirit, the same mood. You don't become like that. You have the same mood as a Nitya Siddha, but it's not, we're Nitya Bada. We have that marginal tendency. Tatastha Shakti, Jiva Shakti, they're different Shaktis. Has different characteristics. That choice is there of Jiva Shakti to go this way or that way, or stay where you are. Or enter Brahman, or whatever it is, living entities. Just. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi.
Hari Hari Bol.
Shri Namacharya.